Did you know that out of the 3 cameras on the TECNO Pova 5G, just one works as a camera? So more about the cameras in the camera section below. Now I've spent the last few weeks, actually about 4 weeks now, testing the TECNO Pova 5G, which is the first 5G device from TECNO. And that's even though we are yet to get 5G here in Nigeria. I think these guys are up to something, and so without taking much of your time, yo guys, let's get started. This is a TECNO Pova 5G, and as the name implies, this is the first time the company has ever made a 5G smartphone, and the first time they are running the Dimensity chipset on their device. You might ask how and what that means, and this is actually the fastest TECNO device yet. Well, on paper, this is actually faster than the TECNO Phantom X. Within the box, you get the nicely designed plastic case, an 18-watt charging brick, USB-C cable, and a pair of earphones. This is one of those large boxes you get from TECNO and not the regular unboxing experience. Of course, this is made out of plastic, but the design is this shimmery rare, which is a fingerprint magnet, and a two-toned rare, with one part having the camera module and the other part with this Manchester City emblem to the bottom side. The two parts have this contrast of Kevlar and gloss at the back, but that's just an optical illusion as the rare feels consistently smooth all through. You definitely need to have it covered to avoid this unnecessary smears at the rear, except you want to have this fingerprint city thing going on here. Smartphone manufacturers have gotten used to making their cameras module look significantly larger than what they actually are, and TECNO also decided to take that route here. And you get the volume rocker and the fingerprint scanner to the right side. You have the 3.5mm jack ports, a mouthpiece opening, USB-C, and a downfiring speaker at the bottom, and the top also has this secondary microphone, while the left side gives you a dual SIM tray with a dedicated micro SD card slot. Flipping over to the front side of this smartphone, you get the front-facing camera, which is a 16-megapixel sensor, an LED flash, and also this display, this tall display, a 6.9-inch LCD panel. This tall IPS panel refreshes at 120 Hz. Now, as far as animations on this display, this is about the smoothest you can get on displays like this one. The Pova 5G doesn't disappoint in this regard. One thing I'd love to remind you guys though is that this isn't a smartphone you'd conveniently use with one hand. It's actually really large. Now, did I mention that you get 1080p as a resolution for the smartphone? Now, as far as I can tell, media consumption on the TECNO Pova 5G is something I can deal with. Now, with 400 nits of brightness, this is actually usable for day-to-day activities. On the software side of things, you get iOS 8.0, which is TECNO's skin on top of Android 11. Of course, you still get the bloated OS with lots of unnecessary apps, some of which are removable and the others taunting you with those ads at the notification center. But you can actually disable some of these applications from showing you these ads at the notification center. As far as the performance on the TECNO Pova 5G, this is one of the fastest devices for the price on the market. First off, you get the Dimensity 900 chipset on here, which is a chipset faster than those on the Samsung Galaxy A52, the Redmi Note 10, and also TECNO's Phantom X. As though that isn't enough, it comes bundled with 8GB of RAM, which is expandable via software to 11GB using the ROM here. Yeah, you had that right. You get up to 11GB of RAM on the smartphone. Internal storage is 128GB, and the good thing about that is TECNO provided us with UFS 3.1 memory module. That means it's quite fast for read and write speed, and the app launch time on this smartphone is quite faster than what you get on other TECNO devices. When it comes to performance with the TECNO Pova 5G, this smartphone chews whatever you throw at it. If you are having fun with this video, a sub will be massively appreciated. Gameplay on this device was mostly smooth in my tests, ranging from playing Call of Duty down to PUBG. I would agree with you that this might not be the best graphic power for the Dimensity 900, but this is definitely a nice experience you get when gaming with TECNO Pova 5G. Now let's talk about the cameras on this device. You get a triple camera setup on the rear like I mentioned, but the main sensor is a 50-megapixel camera, while the other two are just a depth sensor and a QVGA to AG in low light, meaning that the 50-megapixel sensor is the only sensor that takes photos on this device. That might not necessarily be a bad thing, because the reason I think this might be a good approach other than filling a smartphone with lots of cameras like a macro and an ultra-wide, I think it's always better to give the end user a solid main camera than lots of cameras which have poor quality. That in itself doesn't mean that the best camera you get from TECNO is around this price point or from the Pova 5G. It just means that more thought went into the camera section of the TECNO Pova 5G, as you can see from the photos on screen right now. Really good dynamic range and also really colorful photos from my test as seen in the sample photos. The front-facing camera is a 16 megapixel sensor that also takes good detailed photos. I actually don't have a lot to complain about for the price and also the camera you get for this TECNO Pova 5G. I'd give the camera a 7.5 for the price to value ratio here. While you get to record videos at up to 4K, you do not get any form of stabilization except you take it down to 1080p for videos for the front and the rear cameras on the TECNO Pova 5G. But for the camera experience, it's similar to other TECNO devices and the photos are quite usable and decent. And like I'd always say, with good lighting, you love the photos you get from smartphones around this price point. You get a 6000 mAh battery on this bad boy with an 18-watt charger that takes about 2 hours and 45 minutes to charge from 0 to 100. When it comes to battery life, this is actually what the Pova series is known for. And good luck trying to drain this battery in a day. You actually can't. So, for 147,000 naira or $255, I would say this device checks out all the boxes like wonderful performance, good display, great and amazing battery life, and of course it is 5G, an overall solid device for the price. Check out this video right here for the comparison of the smartphone against another TECNO device. Call it that day.